In a time of great peril for the early church, darkness sought to crush the light of God's chosen. Peter, the rock of the church, lay in chains, awaiting his grim fate. Herod, filled with malice, had cast Peter into prison, planning to make him an example. For squads of soldiers, mighty and vigilant, watched Peter's every move. But the church did not sleep. Fervent prayers arose like incense, crying out for Peter's deliverance. And lo, in the dead of night, a heavenly light shattered the darkness. An angel of the Lord appeared, shining brighter than the sun. The angel touched Peter, and his chains crumbled to the ground as though made of sand. "Awake, Peter," the angel's voice thundered. He thought he was dreaming. "Follow me," the angel commanded, and Peter, filled with faith, obeyed. The guards remained still, as though time itself had been halted. A second gate stood before them, yet it swung open as if by unseen hands. Before them loomed the iron gate of the city, yet it opened of its own accord, as if heaven itself commanded it. And so Peter stood outside, free by the power of God, yet still marveling at the miracle before him. In an instant, the angel was gone, like the morning mist disappearing in the sun. At last, Peter understood this was no vision. The Lord had truly rescued him. With haste, Peter returned to the believers, eager to share the miracle. Rhoda, the servant girl, heard the knocking. Could it be? Was it truly Peter? But the believers, though full of faith, could scarcely believe their ears when Rhoda exclaimed, "Peter is at the door." Still Peter knocked, his freedom waiting to be realized by those praying for it. At last, the door swung open, and there stood Peter, alive and free. The room filled with astonished cries and joyous laughter, for God had heard their prayers. But Peter, with a calm voice, silenced them, for there was much more to share. Peter spoke of the angel, of the chains that fell, and the gates that opened, a story of divine intervention. And the believers raised their voices in unison, praising God for his miraculous power. Meanwhile, Herod, consumed with fury, found his plans thwarted by the very hand of God. Herod demanded answers, but the guards were left in helpless silence. And so, the guards paid the price for failing to hold what God had released. Yet despite Herod's rage, the church grew stronger, fueled by the fire of faith. The message of Peter's deliverance spread far and wide, stirring hearts across the land. And Peter, the chosen apostle, walked onward, his faith more resolute than ever. For the gates of heaven remain ever open to those who trust in the Lord. And so, God continues to break the chains of oppression for those who call upon his name. For no power of man can stand against the will of the Almighty. Peter, once bound in chains, now knelt in humble prayer, offering thanks to the God who saves. And the angel of the Lord, though unseen, continued to watch over him. The power of prayer, though invisible, can break chains, open gates, and call forth miracles. United in faith, the church stands strong, for God dwells among his people. Let this message go forth. No prison is too strong, no chain too thick for God's deliverance. And so, the story of Peter's miraculous release reminds us of the unfathomable power of God, who breaks all chains and delivers his people from the depths of darkness.